Hello and welcome again to the next installment of these Full Sail videos. I hope you're digging them. Definitely check out all of them if you want. I think December was a weird month because I was so busy I didn't get to make any videos that month actually, but I did do a nice half-hour video for each class at the end of the month when I finally had time. But anyway, this month is January. This is my 7th month, which is because I took an online class before I came down here to the campus. So I counted that as my first month. And then when I got here, behavioral science was my first campus class, which I considered month number 2. So really, it's technically my 6th month here. It's my 6th set of classes. But in the context of the videos that we're doing here, it's my 7th month. So month number 7, it's going good. I'm taking Introduction to Show Production Systems and the online class of Audio File Management and Documentation. Today's video is for Friday, January 13th. Friday the 13th. Ooh, bad luck or whatever. My day was actually great today. I had the opposite of what Friday the 13th is supposed to be. Today I had a full 8-hour day. I had a 4-hour lecture from 1:15 to 5, and then a 4-hour lab scheduled from 5:15 to 9, I do believe. And in lecture we discussed amplifiers. Today was the amplifier day, which I kind of half found interesting, half didn't, for various reasons. And then in lab we did the monitor mixing lab, which was pretty cool. I got to be a monitor engineer for a little bit, for what, maybe 2 minutes, but it was still pretty cool nonetheless. So let's go over amplifiers. I downloaded the amplifier PDF PowerPoint thing that my instructor used from his Dropbox today. I've got it. Oh, here it is. So let's take a look. Amplifiers. Actually, this lecture was pretty long, no doubt. There were a lot of slides in this one. So we're just going to kind of skim through this. I got to keep it short. But I will give you some stuff to look into if you like. We talked about the history, but yeah, who cares about the history? No one wants to know. I will throw out there a guy named Lee DeForest was the guy that kind of came up with the idea and everything. So research him if you want to know about the history. The history part was kind of boring. We always kind of go over the history first and then we get into it. And like I said, there's lots of pictures. I said this in the last video. There's lots of pictures in the PowerPoint that my instructor uses. One good bit that this slide says a really good one. Let's see. The magnitude of the transfer function is termed the gain. And the transfer function is basically the relationship of the output, or relationship of the input to the output of an amplifier, which is usually expressed as a function of the input frequency. That sounds confusing. It's really not, I promise. When you actually sit there and he explains it, it's not too bad. Amplifiers are basically meant to copy the signal, essentially. Copy and make louder or make bigger. So with that being said, they're never going to make an exact copy. It can be close and it can sound pretty darn similar, but it's never going to be the exact same as a signal that you put into it. That's one of the key things about amplifiers. There's also different classes of amplifiers. A Class A amplifier has the most accurate and simple design. It has one component that is kept hot with 100% of its available energy, no matter what the demand is, so it's continuously running the entire time you have it turned on. The good is that the amp is fully charged and ready for any transient yielding, very low distortion rates, and very clean sound, so it's most effective on tweeters. But the bad part is that it wastes up to 80% of its energy because it's on the whole time. They're also really heavy because they're on constantly. They get really hot, so they have to have fans inside them, and that's what makes it really heavy. But they do sound good because it has like that you know the classic tube sound, and we seem to really like that because that's what it's always been. There's also Class B, Class A, AB, so it's like A/B, Class AB. Um, let's see, what other classes are there? There's a bunch. There's classes G and H. There's also a Class I do believe, and then a Class S amplifier. Class D. There's another one. There's so many classes. Class I. I thought there was a Class S. I guess I'm mistaken. But there's a Class D and a Class I. So you can check out the different amplifier classes if you're really interested. It's basically just different design types. We kind of looked at the different knobs on an amplifier, like you have your on button, your channel, your different channel level controls, cooling vents, obviously, your load limit indicator, your signal present indicator, and your ODEP, which is your fault or protect indicator, which we talked about. OEDP stands for Output Device Emulator Protection. So it's an analog computer simulation of the output device thermal impedance. A lot of this stuff sounds so confusing, and I know it does, and it must, coming from me through a video on YouTube to you. Or it might not even be YouTube, it could be somewhere else if you find it on a different website, or if it's 100 years in the future, what if YouTube changes their name? I don't really think about that often. But fact is, stuff sounds confusing, but it's not as confusing as it seems. I'm just pretty tired from today's events, and I'm having trouble explaining things, especially when I don't quite understand it all the way myself, because I'm still learning about it too. I'm about to actually study after I make these videos. Like while I wait for them to process through iMovie and then upload to YouTube, I usually do some studying of some sort. Let's see, what else? We talked about like different, like we use Crown amplifiers at Full Sail because they're pretty good. Checked out some pictures of some not clean amplifiers that have dust all in the vents. It's pretty gross looking, no doubt. And we watched this video of these guys that dropped a Crown amplifier from like 2 feet, and then 4 feet, and then 7 feet, and it worked after the drops perfectly fine. So those Crown amplifiers are built pretty well, actually. And there's tons of different types of input connectors to amplifiers. And there's different modes. You have your stereo mode, dual mode. There's like a mono bridge mode, which I'm still not too sure what all those, or how they all work exactly. I mean, that's probably what I'm going to read on when I have these videos processing. So the amplifier lecture was very informative, I must say. We also talked about damping. There were a lot of slides today. We went through a lot of information. So that's basically the base of things. And I don't want to go the whole time talking about that. So let's discuss the lab, which really there wasn't too much to the lab at all. We had to set up a monitor system, which it's the same. I was in a different classroom. I was in FS4F 105, which is actually the classroom right next door to the computer lab that I was in yesterday. And it's got the same stage setup as in the classroom where I have lecture, and I had the lab the other day. So same stage, same speakers, same consoles, same wires, everything. We set up the monitor, side and everything, and we just kind of talked about what exactly the monitor position was, and we took a break for a good half hour. We came back and we started doing mixes, and so somehow I ended up being the first one to do a monitor mix. Everyone else was scared to or something. Um, and it was a different experience, I gotta say, because usually, especially coming out of or having a recording consoles class, you're used to having just your board and you can make it sound however you want. The monitor boards are very different. I don't really want to explain how the signal flow works, because it's really not that complicated, but I still don't feel like explaining it because everything is way harder to explain in words than it is to actually show you. But basically I had to turn these knobs and give my other group members whatever they wanted in their mix. We had a Pro Tools feed coming from one of the lab tech's computer or whatever. And the hard part was hearing them over the music, because it was pretty loud. I had my earplugs. I've always got my earplugs. Every time I go to campus, I have my earplugs with me because they're on my security badge, or the ID or whatever, student ID. And basically we rotated and we all got a chance to do the mixes, and there was much rejoicing. It was a lot of fun. So we all got done, and he kind of went over some last minute thoughts and everything. Kind of did the "are there any questions" kind of thing. And we were good to go. We striked it, over and undered all our cables, laid them nicely along the back of the stage, zeroed out the board, covered it. We were done and out of there. So it didn't last the full 4 hours. But I got home around 8 o'clock or so. And we started on time. But no, it was a fun lab. It kind of, I've been kind of saying, yeah, I'm not so sure about this class. Well, this lab definitely renewed that, and got me a little more excited about the class, and live productions in general. I still wouldn't make live stuff my career. I know I'm going to be around it because of Mina. Whenever I get the chance, I'd love to mix one of her shows for her, with whatever band. And actually, who knows if I might be doing some performing myself. I finally picked up Rocksmith the other day, and guitar here. Yeah, I'm actually able to play some stuff on it. I played it for like 2 hours the other night, and I kind of was getting comfortable. My fingers were killing me, but I can't put the thing down. I find myself picking it up and trying to play stuff all the time, It's a really interesting thing. So I am picking up the guitar, and it's going really great, actually. With the batteries and the Xbox controller ran out the other day, pretty much when I was done playing. So I haven't been able to play it since Wednesday, I think. But the past couple days I've been playing along to some of my favorite Volta songs. I learned how to play the bass line for Goliath, or Rapid Fire Toll Booth, actually, by the Omar Rodriguez Lopez group, which is basically the same thing. But you can check out Goliath and Rapid Fire Toll Booth. They're both pretty much great songs. So I learned how to figure out those two songs, which it's the same riff, but point is I could play it, and I also learned how to do the ending of it's the first song on Francis the Mute. I can't remember what the song is called. Let me find out here. Sigmus, Vismus Cygnus, I think. It's the first track on Francis the Mute album, but I learned how to play the bass line that they do at the end. I also learned how to play the bass line for another song from Telesterion by the Omar Rodriguez Lopez group. Melting Chariots. Check out that song. That's a real funky song. It's pretty cool. But I learned the bass line from that too. So I've just been figuring stuff out and learning how to play and how to play it on the different strings, and it's really awesome. So I didn't mean to go out on that rant or anything about the guitar, but I'm having fun with it. I'm digging it. Really want to get my hands on an actual bass. That's what I'd like to play, is bass guitar. But for now, I'm having fun with what I have. So yeah, all is well in the land of here in Orlando, Winter Park. Um, Today was a great day. As I said, there was much rejoicing, just because it's an awesome day. At any rate, thanks again for tuning in. Don't hesitate to send me messages. If you just want to chat with me and get to know me, that's cool too. Find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/FeReyesOpus. It's the same spelling as it is on YouTube. Um, so yeah, hit me up. My name is Andrew. I am a recording arts major, if you were wondering about that or anything. Um, and yeah, everything's going great. So, till next time, I hope you're having a great day, or morning, or evening, perhaps even afternoon, because I know I am. Tomorrow I'm actually picking up a buddy of mine. He's flying in from India to come to school here. Um, and he checked out my videos, and they helped him out. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, you know. So if they help you out, let me know, because I dig the feedback. If not, I don't, you know, it's cool too. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video. I'll talk to you soon.